Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for the morning post, Saturday morning, on what they call the biggest Saturday of racing in the whole entire year. You can stick your stick at it and still not be able to get your head around it. This is why you need to be with us for the next hour or so. Dave Orton are with you as ever. Brought to you by the Racing Post, sponsored by William Hill. This is your chance to interact with us. All you've got to do is log into our YouTube channel. You're probably watching on that right now. If you want to get involved in a community, all you've got to do, thumbs up, like and subscribe, and you can have your shout outs. Let's hear from you this week. We've got a bit more time. Feels a bit more chilled today, unbelievably so. So stick with us. If you want to do anything on Twitter, hashtag the morning post. Let's introduce the panel to you. Paul Kealy is with me.
How you doing?
Bit more room kills.
Plenty of space. You can see me stretching out in a little while, I promise you.
This is, well, people are used to you relaxing into your seat.
Well, I'm stretching out that way normally, but I'm going to stretch out long ways.
No, it's nice. I don't feel like I have to rush you this morning. Not that we normally do, but you like to get your thoughts all out of your head.
Yeah, hopefully I can put them all together after a golf day yesterday.
Oh, you've had a go. Yeah, absolutely. I can smell it from here. Don't worry, guys. All right, shall we get up to... well, let's go to Ireland, shall we? Because Johnny Dineen is with us for the rest of the show. I say that, John, because you usually jump in for like an Irish angle or just as we're doing the previews. Good morning to you.
Morning, Dave. Morning, Paul. How are things?
Hey, all good.
Yeah, the sun is shining there, John. You look a bit more sprightly than is often the case. That's because there's some fabulous racing.
You're out of bed.
Yeah, he's out of bed, which is a start, isn't it? Let's face it. We always open up the trading floor for you. We've got top William Hill trader. I'm delighted to say that Johnny Simpson is back on the show. Johnny the judge in the betting sauna, as Nick Luck once famously said. And there he is. He's got the shirt on. We will be talking about the Euros as well. Good morning, Johnny the judge.
Morning, Dave. Yeah, it's a monster weekend of sport. I'll probably need eyes in the back of my head for the anti-post changes today with so much racing, or maybe too much racing, but no, looking forward to it.
Yeah, you've got a bit of pressure on your shoulders today as well, because Jamie McBride, your counterpart, who came back onto the show last week, I was giving him lots of pelters because I couldn't nap in the charge, of course, at Sandown. He said, I don't want my nap anymore. Macca over, of course, at 10-1. It was backed in and did the business.
Yeah, he went against the grain there. 9-1 Macca over did a job for him. I've a little bit of pressure today, but I don't think mine is quite that price.
Now, before we move on, it's only right that we reflect on the show and what has been an utterly horrific week for the world, but also for the sporting world. And indeed, nothing has hit racing harder in my living memory. The horrific events that happened early in the week in Bushy, where Carol Hunt and Louise and Hannah, the wife and daughters of our incredibly valued friend and colleague John Hunt, lost their lives in an unspeakable tragedy. From the Racing Post and everyone at William Hill, it's been incredible watching the outpouring of love for John and his family, and we send our best. John, you are very much in our thoughts, and it's been very difficult to pick ourselves back up and hard to process, and all you guys out there as well. I know that unbelievably John has been looking at messages, and we move on. And we must reflect, of course. Kills, you go way back with him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've known John for a long, long time. I don't know him anywhere near as well as a lot of people that we've heard from this week. But I mean, you know, if you saw John walking into the racecourse, he'd be straight across to you, and he would come over and he would ask you about you, because that's the kind of guy he is. And I can't even begin to comprehend what he's going through. I just. You know, you go about doing your job, and I'm, you know, forever watching videos and that, you know, and the last few days I'm watching videos, and then John's voice comes on, and next thing you know, I realise I've got to watch the race again because I've completely lost my train of thought. I don't know how you get over what's happened. Hopefully he'll take some comfort from his other daughter and the grandchild that they've got, and somehow that he has a you know, he lives a full life afterwards and gets some comfort out of it. But I just don't know. I don't know how you comprehend it. I just can't myself.
It's extremely hard to process, Paul. And anyway, we will move on, as John will, of course, want us to do. All right. Okay, let us move on with the show, shall we? So much to point at in the next hour or so, and we will try and do that for you. Of course, we have the William Hill Boost, which every Saturday, if you're new to the show, comes up from William Hill. They look at what is a big player, and let me tell you, they have got a big player. And we should say Johnny the Judge, that last Saturday's was a double, wasn't it, of course? City of Troy to win. We'll have a little talk about that perhaps as well in a second. Well done, Johnny Dineen, by the way. We'll come to you in a minute, because on the show, this is what happens as well. We make a market. We were talking about how far would City of Troy win, and everyone was getting excited, Paul Kealy, about dial the distance. But Johnny said, no, I think it will be under 2.5. So up we went. 4-1 was taken. But the double, of course, which was your boost, was City of Troy to win. And was it England in normal time?
It was. It was England in 90 minutes, which unfortunately didn't win. But obviously they got through to the final tomorrow. The boost this week, we're going to take on the favourite for the July Cup, Inisherin. We're going to go 5-2 from 2-1. That's that'll be top price now. That'll be there until the end of the show. So 5-2 Inisherin.
Okay, there's your boost. That is live now on the William Hill website and indeed the app. That is of course, the Commonwealth Cup winner that takes in the big race at 4:35. Sometimes the Group 1s on the cards are a little bit sooner than that, but 4:35, you've got plenty of time. We'll see what the panellists make of it. We, of course, did a little play or lay section for you straight after Royal Ascot, where these horses might go. And most of us were given a big thumbs up for Inisherin. Will it still be the case now that we know the draw, the ground, and indeed the opposition? That's the July Cup, one of a couple of incredible races that we are going to bring to you. Johnny Dineen, just a word on City of Troy before we have a look back at what's already happened at Newmarket this week as well. Were you impressed, John? Come on.
Oh, look, you wouldn't have been overly impressed, and if you did bet the big odds on you, I think you'd have a brief moment, maybe around a furlong down, when you'd say I could actually lose my money here. But look, he was well on top of the line. I have a feeling, though, and I might be wrong. I have a feeling that the ground is massive for City of Troy, and I could see him if he went to maybe a race like the Judd Monte, and it wasn't a vintage race. Maybe I could see him opening up there and winning by half the track. If you know what I'm saying. But I'd say that the ground blunted his probably his class and speed, and I wouldn't be. I'm not saying you would be writing him off, right? But I wouldn't be rating him on what he did last Saturday in Sandown. I would say you'll see a totally different animal in a big, wide open, expensive track like York. And if he does go to York, ground is good to firm. I'd say you need no money to back him, just built away.
Right. So Johnny was under the distance, but still kind of impressed with what City of Troy did and thinks that big performance like the Derby awaits us. We'll come to Johnny Simpson in a minute because we're seeing where he might go now, Gills. Of course, there was talk about the Juddmonte, there was talk about going to America, there's been talk about going to the moon, I think, with this horse, but they might even now go to the King George. Well, you weren't as impressed.
I wasn't remotely impressed, no. I mean, I thought he'd win by half the track because I thought it was a rubbish race, and if Al Riffer hadn't been ridden to finish second, he might have finished first. You know what I mean? Because you get... Now, I'm not... You know, there's a reason you get your best possible position. They probably thought they couldn't beat him, you know what I mean. But holding up a horse off a slow pace at Sandown in a small field, that never works. It just never works, you know what I mean. And to get as close as he did, he's the horse that needs marking up in a race. And I'm not buying this soft ground nonsense with City of Troy either. You know what I mean, it wasn't that bad at Sandown on Saturday. Times didn't suggest it was that bad. It certainly wasn't soft. It was probably good to soft.
Funny ground, wasn't it?
The times were rubbish. His time was rubbish compared to the other two 3-year-old races over the strip on the card. You know, 3-year-olds rated 94 and 79 who were carrying more.
Persica was more impressive, wasn't it?
Persica was 2/5 of a second slower, carrying £5 more. And Blake was 1.2 seconds, but he was carrying £9 more or something. He was rated 79. You know what I mean? The time performance isn't good. The form of the race isn't very good, and I'm not buying the ground. That's nonsense, right? There's been 5 slower eclipses in the last 40 years. Right? There's only been 3 slower derbies than the one City of Troy won in the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Right? It was good to soft there. You know, it was soft, probably only good to soft when he hacked up in the Dewhurst last year. He's just not as good as he was. Simple as that.
I tell you what.
And I think he's an out-and-out stayer as well. And I think that's the thing. I think he was going to go away at the line. I think it looked like he was going to go away. I just think he's an out-and-out stayer, and anything half decent that runs against him over a mile and 2 will beat him.
Hence the fact they might be bringing the King George back.
I would run him in the King George. I'd swap Augusta Road in out and see if he can win over 1 mile 2 in the international.
That's not a bad
I
shout.
would run City of Troy in the King George, and I wouldn't even think of running a turf a mile and 2 furlongs again.
Great headache for Ballydoyle to have, of course, but it is a bit of a headache. Let's bring in Johnny, the judge, then. And what are we doing anti-post wise now? A lot of people in the Dineen camp. You've just out Dineen, by the way. This is, I mean, what a panel we've got for you for the next hour or so. Let's get the Titans going head to head, shall we? But here we are. Look, where are we going with this? What price do you go King George? What price do you go International? What price do you go the sack race? I don't know. Where's he going, this horse?
Yeah, well, I'm firmly with Keels here. I'm just not convinced City Troy is that good at all. The Derby form as a whole. We went 2-1 from 6-4 initially after the eclipse for the Juddmonte. So that has since been taken back into 7-4. With more likely he will turn up there, and maybe better ground will help him. But if it, as I say, if there's a better horse, there's a good horse that comes along, I think he'll beat him. We've gone 3-1 for the King George, 10-1 for the Arc. I couldn't entertain him for that race at all. And if he did end up in America, that would be Phil the Satchel job. Is around 6-7-1.
Oh, Johnny Simpson showing that he's got a bit of Dineen about him as well. Maybe it'll rub off on me finally. I don't know. All right, maybe you out there as well. You can have your say, guys. A reminder about that. Let's get involved. Let's open up the show a bit to you today. I think we can do that. And here is the first of our... Shall we start the play or lay section? Now, we've done this within a Sharon, as I've said, and a reminder of that when we get to the July Cup. Saturday previews to follow. But here are your anti-post movers. Right, was 6-4 for the Juddmonte, now 2-1. And you're hearing about Johnny the Judge with that. Play or lay, we know what you're doing on that.
Well, anti-post, I'd still be a lay with that, yeah.
Johnny Dineen, play, fast ground?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Absolutely no help whatsoever there. One's going that way, one's going that way. You tell us again, where are you going? Where should I go? Tell me. What else have we got coming up? We've got loads of these coming your way. Let's roll the dice. Johnny, what have we got coming up here? You and Sam Hart, our producer, have been cooking these up yesterday in the boot room, if you like.
Yeah, well, we've got these are sort of the biggest movers we've had in the last 7 days. We've got Queen of the Pride. That was 6 from 14 for the Yorkshire Oaks. She was relatively impressive at Haydock.
Oh, yes, it was. Graham Rodway, you scoundrel. He put this up, didn't he? I thought, I must admit, that was not a performance in the offing. She strode away from them.
She did. It was impressive. I thought Tiffany nearly fell over on the bend and wasn't at all happy on the track.
Oh, blimey. We ought to reference Haydock, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, Haydock, that's just unfortunate. Look, we had the beginning of last week, there was no rain forecast anywhere, and then suddenly there was. So both Sandown and Haydock stopped their watering. Sandown got an absolute ton of rain. Haydock didn't get any. You know what I mean? It's just rank bad luck. And of course, as we were saying last week, if you don't water bends, they become slippery.
They're both Coopers now as well, of course, which is making me think the classes.
It is just rank bad luck on them. But,
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't safe, and I don't think Tiffany handled it at all. I think she's better than that.
Yeah, I spoke to William Aggis in the week about Haydock, and I said, was it frustrating for him? And he kind of echoed what you're saying.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can do.
Just
about
a bit of a freaky
it.
thing, wasn't it?
You can moan.
So 6-1, 6-1 doesn't float your boat?
Not really, no.
No. Okay. Johnny, were you impressed?
Yeah, I was to a point, but I agree with Paul. I think Tiffany was a bit unlucky in that race, to be honest. And it definitely did some sort of a stumbling manoeuvre around the last bend, and it put it on the back foot. And I'd say if they met again, they'd be really, really close. Look, I'd nearly go as far as say if they met again, on those terms, I'd go for Tiffany to beat Queen of the Pride, to be honest.
All right, okay. So that's 2 lays then. We've finally got some. I say we're only second one in, but I'm glad that we've got a bit of unison there. Let's move on then, Johnny. What else have we got coming up?
Yeah, Ancient Wisdom, we went 8 from 14 for the St Ledger. I think this is potentially a nice horse, but he must have heavy ground. He's got such a high knee action. He almost needs to wear a gum shield. It's that high. But yeah, 8-1 for the St Ledger.
Johnny Dean, let's come to you here. Something of a renaissance for Godolphin after a dreadful ride Ascot for Charlie Appleby and the team. This guy was a Derby, also ran. Charlie Appleby, straight after the race, said, we were always waiting to get this guy up in trip. The Bahrain Trophy, does it throw up St Ledger winners?
I'm not so sure of the stats of the particular race. Look, it got the run of the race, it got the rail, which is vital in Newmarket, and they weren't much against it either. The Irish horse, I can't even think of his name now, but Aidan O'Brien's horse, that's no good. And I think the other two aren't much good. They had form tied in with Calandigan from Ascot, and I thought, even though he was weak in the betting, I actually thought he was fair enough price when he put him in 11 to 10, but he went down to 6 or 7 to 4. I was worried. But look, as regards winning the Ledger, I couldn't be having him anyway. Surely there'd be something to take him out in the Ledger anyway.
Well, Charlie Appleby does do very well with this type of horse, but I make you right. It didn't massively float my boat. And fair play to Ollie Bell on ITV. He interviewed Charlie straight afterwards. Did you see him? He actually had the gumption to say, "Didn't impress me." You don't have to see that, do you?
No,
in interviews?
no,
Fair
absolutely,
play,
absolutely.
Charlie took it well.
I would say the ground was almost good already. Like, I mean, it certainly wasn't that slow. If you could guarantee me soft ground, I'd bite your hand off for 8 to 1.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I think it's a good horse. Mars Marvel was the last winner of the Bahrain Trophy to win the last 2011. Long while, a bit of Google there in the background. I think he's a very good horse on soft ground, but he needs it proper soft. And I don't think we saw as good as he was because it wasn't that soft.
Yeah, Charlie just does well. It reminds you of Hurricane Lane a little bit, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Probably Hurricane Lane at this point in his career was a bit better, but obviously went on to win the Ledger. They know how to do it. That is the Ledger. What else have we got coming up? Let's move this along.
Yeah, we've got Whistle Jacket, 14 from 20 from the Commonwealth Cup. Obviously, this is a very early market. We've got 12 months to wait for this, but he let a few big bets down at Royal Ascot, but made up for it over 6 furlongs.
Yeah, this show was kind of Whistle Jacket arrived on this show when Johnny Dineen about a month before Ascot, and I remember Johnny the judge was in there, and two of you were on. He was like, he's found it. It was around about 7 to 2 when you put it up, John. Were you a forgiving punter when we went in again on, was it Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, I was, to be fair. I had something on him, not a fortune, but I did back him. Look, I thought he was 7 to 4 early on. I said to him, that looks fair enough in this kind of a race. It wasn't the vintage race though at the same time, and the extra furlong, and I suppose the small bit easier ground probably helped him. Like, as regards winning the Guineas, you're going for Commonwealth Cup. Commonwealth Cup. Yeah, maybe, possibly. Yeah, 14 to 1. He doesn't look like a mile horse anyway, so he'll probably be a sprinter. Aidan O'Brien doesn't have sprinters much, does he? The 6 furlongs is the bare minimum. I know this Commonwealth Cup is a 6 furlong race, but look, it's a long way away for 14 to 1. Look, I've seen worse bets, but I wouldn't have it at the same time.
I think that's kind of where I'm sitting, Johnny, as well. You've seen them put in shorter. What did you make of it? It was indeed on Thursday.
Well, I didn't think the Norfolk was any good, and I think the July Stakes was rubbish. He was a good winner of it. He clearly doesn't want fast ground, really fast ground, which is more than likely you're going to get at Ascot. His brother got beat at a short price in the Commonwealth Cup, Little Big Bear, but he's not a patch on Little Big Bear. So no, I wouldn't be interested. I mean, I'm not the sort of person that lays 14.
I was quite impressed that he put himself back on track, though, Keels. Like, he's obviously a fair tool, isn't he?
He didn't beat anything, did he?
But he's exactly the sort of horse you can see going to win at the Breeders' Cup, isn't he? Do you think it might be like Little Big Bear, two-year-old?
It's quite possible. He'll end up shorter on the day, but I mean, it's just not a price that interests me at all.
All right, okay. So we're having a little review of Newmarket as well. I guess we were going on this. I think that's sort of fancy for me and John. Keels, no. Let's move on, shall we? Couple more to come. These are all the big movers, of course. Johnny the Judge, what we got next?
Yeah, we've got Fairbanks for the Ebor. I thought that's 14 from 20. I thought Oisin Murphy rode that with immense amount of confidence the other day. Obviously, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge with this, with big handicap and the draw and the ground and everything. But at the moment, it's 14 from 20.
6 winners, I think I counted on the day yesterday for Andrew Balding.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying, isn't he? I'm just trying to check. What mark did he win off yesterday?
Well, his first time blinkers was the thing,
because
wasn't it? Would he get in?
You've got to be really high, but the weight for age. I mean, I'm going to say, I'm trying to work out what he won off. I don't think it was that high, was it? Why am I looking at York? I'm such an idiot sometimes. Sorry, on the fly here. Yeah, he's one of 94. So I mean, if he goes up, let's say he went up 10 for that. I can't remember what weight for age is now.
You're going to get in an Ebor, aren't you, if you go up a bit for that, aren't you?
No, it's probably not.
What have you got to do to get into an Ebor these days?
The top weight would be 113, 114, wouldn't it? And he's going to be, let's say he was 104 and getting, I can't remember what the weight for age is, £12.92. No, he won't even get
Bellocchio favourite, I'm assuming, at the minute, Johnny, the judge, is he?
He won't get in.
For the Ebor?
At the moment it is, but we're not sure he's actually going to run. I think he's going to run over hurdles at Galway, we believe, but the entries will be coming out for that shortly.
Yeah, that's exactly what last year's winner did as well, wasn't it? Of course, your county hurdle winner, of course, Absurd took it out. Anyway, that's to come. Johnny Dineen, did you like Fairbanks? This is probably not your sort of puzzle, I imagine, John.
No, but he did win well, but he was a bit free early on, to be fair. So, but he did kind of half get to run of the race, and I think if you give jockeys of the quality like Oisin Murphy, that kind of leeway out in front and going for home about 3 down. And at no stage, I didn't have a bet in the race now, but at no stage from 3 furlongs down would you ever think he was going to be passed. He didn't win by that much in the finish, but he did get to run the race, and it would be probably more difficult to use those kind of tactics in a race like the Ebor, I would have thought.
Hearing it was a 10,000 to 1 6-timer for Balding yesterday, so you're right, he's in absolutely sensational form. Few people have said
when you make mistakes, you make mistakes, and Fairbanks isn't a 3-year-old, is he? He's 4.
Yeah. I was about to say, they've got a cracking record.
You're supposed to correct me when I've got things like that up. Yeah, so he will get in, and that's not a bad price.
So you like it? I'll tell you what, when we've got more people in the studio,
for some reason I had in my head that he's a 3-year-old, but he's not a 3-year-old. He will get in and he'll be on a racing weight.
All right, okay.
Sorry.
All right, let's swiftly move on. What else have we got before we go into the paper roundup? There must be more, Johnny the Judge.
Yeah, we got a couple of good ones. Kyprios, 8 to 11 from 5 to 4. Now, this didn't help with Trawlerman being scratched, but that was a fair move during the week.
Yeah, it does seem, Johnny Dineen, doesn't it, like it's like ding-ding round 3 in this division for Trawlerman and Kyprios. Has the door been left open?
Yeah, look, I would have fancied Kyprios, whether Trawlerman was in or out. He kind of looked back to his best at, like I opposed him at Ascot, but sometimes you get this kind of light bulb moment where you say, that's me finished with him anyway, you know what I mean, and I'll lay him anymore, and that I kind of got that impression from him in Ascot. I won't be opposing Kyprios over any distance on any ground from now on anyway, to be honest. I think he'd probably win all these races from here to the end of the season, to be honest.
I think a great majority are with you on that, John, probably me included. It's good to see Truchan come back, of course, and if there's a bit of a deluge, he might yet have
It was
something
good to see Truchan come back. It was a weak enough race. Alan King was flying at the time as well. I don't think Kyprios is as good as he was, but I don't think he needs to be, and that's the thing. It's a bit like, going over jump sprinter. Sakura was able to be a stone below his best and still win a second champion chase very easily.
Is this a play at 8 to 11 then? What price do you think he'll be if he turns up on the day is the question, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's it. It depends on what runs. But when it's said, we've got Trawlerman out of it. If the ground is fast, he won't have Truchan, so he could end up a fair bit shorter. I mean, again, I don't bet at those sort of prices. Certainly not anti-post, but I wouldn't be in a rush to lay. I wouldn't be in a rush to lay. Yeah.
You remember Batash a couple of years ago? We all thought he'd win, but it was like, what price is he going to be on the day? Don't want to be tipping that up. So I think we can say that is a play. One more coming up before we end our segment on the play or lay for you out there. What is it, Johnny?
It is Opera Singer in the Nassau. We saw a little run of money earlier in the week, 5 to 1, and we quickly got out of the way of that down to 5 to 2. That form has since been boosted yesterday. Port Fortuna winning, but 5 to 2 from 5 to 1 for the Nassau. Yeah,
Port Fortuna. Can't underrate her anymore, can we?
No, I thought she was. I thought she could be taken on yesterday, and she won very, very easily. Obviously, I was disappointed with Opera Singer when she didn't win at Ascot, because I thought she'd come on an absolute ton, but I think you can mark that up. I can understand why she's been backed. I think that's probably a fair price.
Yeah, so do I. I'm sort of nodding here, and I think let's end this segment with Johnny Dineen, who's had a lot to say throughout the season so far about Opera Singer. Where are we sitting for the Nassau, John? Up in trip?
Yeah, I'd say that'll suit her. I mean, I was with Paul yesterday insofar as I actually laid Porter Fortuna, and it didn't half win. Like, I mean, you don't see many horses win them kind of races. It had a 1-2 down. It was pay the rooster, and it was all over. I have a feeling the betting suggested to me that Opera Singer wasn't 100% in Royal Ascot for some reason. It took a wild drift, and there was real money come for Ramatui, and the winner was well backed as well. So I'd say you'll see an improved version again of Opera Singer in the Nassau Stakes. I'd say 10 furlongs will suit her ideally. She'll be in against older horses. I don't see her being much less than 5 to 2 at the same time. 5 to 1 was a good price, but I don't think I wouldn't be tearing into her at 5 to 2. But I definitely respect her chances.
Ooh, yeah, interesting. Okay, I thought you might be a bit more positive on that, John. What are you thinking out there? That concludes the play or lay section then. Opera Singer, 5 to 2. Do you see some short ones? Remember Blue Rose Sen? Oh, painful for some, wasn't it? Last year, of course. And all right, that is our play or lay section. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, you can see at the bottom of the screen, that is the William Hill boost that they're giving you. Inner Sharon, 5 to 2. You can get from the 2 to 1. That is boosted for the entirety of the show. Get involved if you fancy. Here at the Racing Post, we're going to give you some free bets. Something funny that came into my head. No one knows how to pronounce Ramatuelle, do they? Or Ramatoi? Ramatui, Johnny said.
Yeah.
And I can remember when my son Seb was coming into the studio a little bit earlier on. I think Johnny said it then as well, and he thought he said ratatouille.
Oh, right.
And my son picked up on that, and he said,
right.
what's going on? How do we pronounce Ramatuelle? Ramatoy, Christopher Head's horse. Let us know out there. No one seems to know. We'll talk about the Grand Prix de Paris coming up now, actually, at the end of the paper roundup section, where someone in the studio disgraced themselves this morning by calling the favourite Illinois. But anyway, we'll get there. There is what you can get on your front page of the Racing Post. What a weekend of sport indeed it is. It's just that time of year, isn't it? Of course, Wimbledon on Sunday, big day for the Spaniards. Ollie Watkins, is he bringing it home? We'll get to that. Cup Kings, of course. Let's move on. On page 2, the front runner himself, Chris Cook, says, on a smorgasbord, very crisp word that, of TV action featuring a tea time dash for the sprint crown. Tea time indeed, isn't it? All about equine speed and stamina. Inner Sharing, poised to continue dominance for the 3-year-olds, says Keith Melrose, betting editor. Really good piece there. Get involved and see why. Ancient Truth, full of promise, as he bids to follow illustrious path. Of course, 12 months ago, this is where City of Troy really announced himself on the scene on the July. Great to see the Wren dog, Matt Rennie, there. Richard Birch comes in. Has the market overreacted to carry the one's eye-catching Ascot defeat? This is going to be a fascinating horse of all the horses we talk about today, of course, in the Bunbury Cup. Tom Siegel, Pricewise, Supremo, Pentle Bay, the standout HQ punt in the Superlative, of course, bedtime story to worry about here. And Pentle Bay will be fancied for Tom in that Superlative Stakes. And the last one, now this is interesting, 17 this evening on Sky, you can see the Grand Prix de Paris, Cormore's Delius, here we've got another Ramatoy, we've got an Illinois here, has the potential to put himself firmly in the ARC picture. Now, again, go and read the connections comments there. This is a big, big race with the ARC in mind. Johnny Simpson, this is the market as it stands. Illinois, not Illinois, just in case you're looking, is your current fav.
Yeah, we're taking a little bit of a view here compared to the rest of the industry. Everyone else has got Delius' favourite. We're standing at 3-1. We think that form so far isn't great, and we're clear top at 16 for the ARC as well. If you wanted both to win both, it's currently 25-1 under specials. But Illinois 11-4, Soze 7-2, and Tamfana 5-1.
Have you had a look at this race?
Well, the last time I saw Delius, he was finishing second to Desert Orchid in the Racing Post
well,
Chase.
we get this, of course. Let's call him Delius. He's unbeaten.
It's Delius, not even Delius.
He's unbeaten. He's Coolmore.
Yeah, don't care. The Grand Prix de Paris is routinely the worst 3-year-old Group 1 of the year.
It used to be the best race in France.
It will make no impact whatsoever on the ARC.
Not whatsoever.
Not whatsoever. Just ignore all of them.
Well, if there's one horse that is in there, Johnny Dineen, it is this Coolmore unbeaten horse. It's been a tough year for Jean-Claude Rouget, I think, health-wise. Hopefully Jean-Claude is on his way back. Of course, Ace Impact won it last year. I think after City of Troy last Saturday, Johnny Dineen, a lot of people saying the best colt 3-year-old around is Luc de Vega, of course, who beat Ghostwriter much more comprehensively in France. If you're taking things strictly, that might be the case. This is the one over there they're expecting that might usurp him.
Luc de Vega?
No. Yes, Delius. They think he might be the best colt in France, not Luc de Vega.
I don't know a lot about Delius myself, to be honest, or Sozy for that matter. Illinois, you'd imagine, would be vulnerable in a decent Group 1 over 1.5 miles, surely. And Tamfana's going from 1 mile to 1.2 miles, back up further again to 1.5 miles, and looks pretty beatable herself at the same time. She ran all right the last day in France, but even the 1,000, she ran well in that too. But she know absolute top fillies. So. The fact that Illinois is favoured, I'd probably have to agree with Paul here that this kind of a race, unless something wins it very, very easy, I couldn't see it having a major impact on the ARC betting. That horse to me, the horse that Luc de Vega that won the French Derby,
yeah,
that looks a serious beast at the same time. I would say now that's the horse that will probably have to beat in the Arc. Yeah, it's probably favoured for it too, but I would say right now that has to be the horse they have to beat.
And we'll get a couple of lines on this, of course, because the likes of Sosie, Mondo Man was a bit of an eye catcher behind Calandigan at Royal Ascot. For once, viewers, it's lucky I'm here because I've had a good look at this
How
race.
much of an eye catcher can you be when the winner's won by 6 lengths?
Well, he just sort of he was in France
He's
before.
run to about 89
they hold him up
or
at the back hills. He was a bit of an eye catcher. But then I said that about Novus last week as well. And I'm still looking for her in the Lancashire Oaks. Illinois then.
She ran well, didn't get
Can't
home.
believe that's stuck in my head now, Illinois. Racing Post ratings, right? 113 Illinois for winning at Royal Ascot. 113 Tamfana for placing in the Prix de Diane. Sosie, right sort of mark. Delius, 106. So we're talking about style over substance here. All right,
we're talking, the best horses are just above listed level, aren't they?
yeah, but for this particular puzzle tonight, maybe Tamfana might just be the value. It's amazing, isn't it, that Oisin Murphy's riding at Ascot and then getting the old helicopter over. It's almost like we don't hear of that since.
I mean, the
COVID.
weirdest thing in the world is he could ride at Ascot, wouldn't be allowed to ride at Lingfield in the evening, but he can go to France.
Yeah, the world is back, guys, and anyway, let's not poke the jockey bear about that. Let's move on for our Saturday previews now. We're round about the hour mark. We're at perfect time now to go full on hone in, and the 145 is a cracking sprint full of lots of old characters as we get ready for. It usually takes a bit of winning this, Johnny the Judge. You've got King's Lynn, that old character. Kills said he's bound to hit the frame last time. He did, but you're fav.
Yeah, this is our top price guarantee race, this, and we're playing 5 places, so I won't be looking anywhere else. This is obviously verified by Oddschecker. We've been offering more of these races over the last month. King's Lynn, 6-1. I mean, all these horses seem to be running against each other every other week, sort of take it in turns to win. King's Lynn, 6 from 7. Albashir is 10 from 12, dropping down to the 5 furlongs. And there's been a little bit of money for Badri, 11 from 14. But he shaped really eye-catchingly at Epsom. It was a strange ride, but he did run well in this race last year.
That was the winner of the Epsom race last time around. I didn't even know he was running that day, I remember, on the show. These sprints, they often catch you out. He was eye-catching, you're right. Keels, I quite like one in this. It's Get It for George Baker, who just is in an absolute rare piece of form. Loved him at Windsor last time. He's got the high draw. I think 11
Doesn't he have
is
the
over the
wrong
odds.
running style for Ascot?
I don't know. Something made all there on the straight course yesterday. And so
but it's big field, going to go hard.
He doesn't have to lead. I just like him. I think he's in a good place.
Yeah, I can see it. You make cases for lows, don't you? I mean, I've backed King's Lynn more times than he's run, I think.
You're not going in again, are you?
No, I'm not going in again. And I backed Existent at Sandown last time, and he's actually becoming tempting now.
He ran well.
He was 7 or 8 to 1 earlier in the week, and he's 12 now. So I can see the case for that. I have backed 2 though. I backed Woolhampton and Anti-Post.
Yes.
She just runs really well at Ascot. As long as the ground isn't too fast. She actually put up her best performance last time on what was quick ground, but she wants it a little bit slower. I mean, it's good at the moment, I think. But I wanted to keep drying out for Russet Gold. I think Russet Gold's a massive price. Now, he ran, he showed a massively improved run first time out this season when beaten half a length by Glenfinnan and Billy Joe. Glenn Finner's beaten 2 lengths in the Wokingham afterwards, finished 5th. Billy Joe went on and finished 2nd in the Buckingham Palace. Russet Gold was dropped back down to 5 furlongs last time, but Redcar got squeezed out at the start and was tailed off about halfway. He couldn't possibly win. Only got beat 3 lengths. He is a brother to St Lawrence. He's a half brother to Darye, 2 Royal Ascot winners. He's run well every time he's run at Ascot. He's 16 to 1. He might have the wrong draw. Does worry me being out in stall 1. But if they split, time and time again, we've seen during Royal Ascot that there is no advantage wherever you go. So if they split and stay over there, there was a horse only beaten about that much last year in this race or the year before from right over the other side.
Yeah.
So hopefully there won't be any draw advantage.
If you look at the excellent Kevin Morley's 10-year trends for this in the paper in his section today, he'll tell you the first 6 or the far 6. So it's either the lowest 6 or the highest 6. That's where they win. They don't come down the middle in this race for whatever reason. They did make a beeline for the stand side there yesterday. It's 7.5 as it stands.
Yeah, they do. The stalls are on the stand side as well.
So it got a bit messy there yesterday, didn't it? So as it can do, the first favourite snuck through for Ed Walker, I remember. All right, Johnny Dineen, what do we like here?
Yeah, I like to look at Dream Composer actually. it's like the Ascot. I always think that the last furlong in Ascot's like a furlong and a half most places. It's really like races change there, so he'll need every yard of the trip here because he probably wants a bit an extra half a furlong. Look, he's gone up £4 from his win, and Mark Wanright takes over from your man Levy. So I suppose if you include the young fella's claim, he's gone up a fair bit, but he just couldn't go to Gallop the last day. He did manage to get away with an Epsom, but he finishes really well. And I do think he's a good bet for like the 5 places or whatever they kind of give in races like this. I presume they give 5 places in a race like this. And to me, he's got a very good chance. I can't have King's Lynn. I hate them horses that are taken out of big owners' colours. You know what I mean? Like the Queen or the King, or whoever owns it, whoever did own it. Like the fact that Balding runs in his colours now. He must have said to them, "Look, it's a yak. Don't bother even." You know what I mean? and it hasn't won since. Like it's not as if they can't afford the fees or any of that. You know what I mean? So I just always be wary of horses that come out of like you see horses leaving big owners and going to other fellas. They don't take them out of their colours if they're any good normally, and it even though it's consistent, it still hasn't won in 2 years, and I'd be fairly sure that won't, even with Oisin Murphy, that won't win. But I'd go with Dream Composer each way.
It's a yak, and you know what's going to happen, don't you? You know when you said it, I was going to ask you because I think all the viewers I'm imagining, and those of you who are watching this morning, good morning to you if you just joined us. Like and subscribe, let you know you're out there. We can see the numbers. It's great. Paul Kealy, when you jump off a horse, do you have that sod's law feeling? Can you save at 6 to 1?
No, that's when.
Will you save?
That's when they win. No, I won't bother saving. Not at that price. I don't think it's a saver price. So I might save on Brave Nation. I got a tip from someone who won't name yesterday. He just said, "I'm told Ding Dong wins the first at Ascot," and I went, "Who's Ding Dong?" Michael Bell.
Yeah. Ring the bell. He's in good form, Michael is. Yeah.
So,
he beat a horse last time at Doncaster, was it? I was on the horse called Squealer. Still think Squealer's won. And Billy Enough Name was absolutely mustard on it and did me a nose.
Quite well fancied, as I'm told.
But he's definitely going forward.
I've backed Wolverhampton and Russet Gold.
All right, okay. That is the first at Ascot. We're rocking and rolling, and it's time to see the ball big for Paul Kealy because you would have seen Avid Racing Post readers Saturday Scissors. Play of the day is Arasaig in the 212, the Fillies Handicap at Newmarket. Let's go to Johnny the Judge and see what's hot and what's not.
Yeah, a couple of progressive fillies. Miss Bodacious is the new favourite at 130. Lulu's Gift 7-2, and Arasaig 9-2 from 10. Now we all like to say, "Oh, how great we are at pricing." Hands up here. I was the one who put this in at 10-1. I didn't quite see the strength in the market that it is here, but 9-2 from 10, and then the improving Qatar 15-2.
All right, okay. Right, sit back, take it away.
Well,
You've got no pressure from any other cretinous tipsters.
I'm hoping William Hill can pay for the day for the second day running. I've got 10-1 involvement. I've got 10-1 Arasaig. Involvement did the business. I expect Arasaig to be honest.
Why?
Well, first of all, I think all you see in these races, bookmake. I'm sure Johnny will agree with this. That when you price up a race, you almost price it up as how you expect people to bet. So you focus on big stables, unexposed, potential improvers, and what you got, Miss Bodacious and Lulu's Gift. They both won absolute rubbish races, right? I think they're 2 3/4 length third to Lulu's Gift was last of 8 in a Class 4 at Carlisle next time out, off a pound lower, 75 or something. So they won very easily in bad races, right? And then you sometimes ignore defeats in good races, and Arasaig's 8th in the Sandringham was just miles better than that. For a start, she was on the wrong side. Now, you have to, sometimes you do get 2 races at Ascot, don't you? And they were just on the wrong side. Right? Indelible won the fast side. Arasaig was 3rd. Right? She cruised through the race. Right? Jamie Spencer tried to edge her to the right. She went violently right, bumped into another horse. But she still ran on. She got within 2 1/4 lengths, I think it was, of Indelible, who is now £13 higher, having finished second in listed company last time. She might not have got much closer, but her run was coming to an end. I think 7 furlongs absolutely suits her. They've only just discovered her to ride her. She has won 3 of her 7 starts, but 2 starts ago at Lingfield over 7.5 furlongs, she absolutely flew. They buried her and then brought her out for a run rather than racing up with the pace like a lot of the Johnston horses do. I think she's tailor-made for a hold-up ride. She's got a great change of gear. She really has got a change of gear, I think. And be disappointed if she doesn't win.
Yeah, I'll let you have that moment because you've obviously put it in print, but good for us to hear it, wasn't it? And again, as I always say to you, when these cases are made, go and check it out for yourselves. Go and look in the Members Club, you get all the replays. You can see that. Look it out. Arasaig, ball big, Kealy time. What about Mr. Dineen?
Yeah, the horse that interests me here is the top one, Asian Days. I don't think these are a great bunch myself. I know it's a 50 grand race, but there's a lot of these horses have like middling enough form and form from the country tracks more so. Whereas Asian Days has really solid form in handicaps at the Curragh and that. And I see where that them Waterhouse people gave 200 grand for it, and like they wouldn't be too slow, those guys, would they? Like, you know what I mean? So I know it's probably going down to Australia and all that, but it's gone to Jane Chapel-Heim. It's its first run for her. It's not giving a welterweight of weight away to someone down around the bottom. It's only giving like 7 or 8 pounds to the bulk of the field. It's giving a bit more to the ones down the bottom altogether. But I do think it has a good chance. I do think it's taken a big drop in grade here. It didn't run bad in the it was 9 to Soprano, and its previous runs were like second to Everlasting and third to Zainab. They were hard handicaps in the Curragh. It has plenty of experience, and I think that has a good chance 11 to 1.
I agree. I am more worried about that than I am the front two in the betting.
Okay, I'd agree with that. It's interesting that the Clifford Lee's obviously here to ride showcasing in the well, not showcasing. What's it called? That would be a sire, wouldn't it? Swing along. Sorry, in the July Cup. But Lulu's Gift, I would be taking that on as well. I think. Just a word for real, not real here. Roger Varian's horse. This was backed off the balls when it got somehow beaten at Kempton on its debut. Then went to Redcar, won at 1 to 9. He took it up to Haydock last time. It got into a battle up front in a not a bad novice race. It pulled like stink. If James Doyle can get any cover here, I know they think this has got a decent opening mark.
He's the other trainer who's flying as well, isn't he? Very
absolutely flying, Roger is. And just 9 to 1. Is that what we got? 9 to 1. I thought it was a play as well, but Mr. Kealy, rather convincing. Shall we move on? Let's get some pace up with these previews, shall we? And on we toddle. Where are we going? Back to Ascot. It is the 220. It is, of course, the Summer Mile. And a race which has been really keen to Team Haggis for a while. And if it had been dry ground, this is where we would have been seeing Maljoom, William told us in the week. For the same ownership, of course, Coudoir now takes his place. It's drying all the time. He's unbeaten, Johnny the Judge. And looks like you might be having a bit of a swerve here.
Yeah, we think the very boring opinion here. The front end of the market will take all the beating here. Coudoir or Sunny Listen. He's 6 to 4 from 2, and Sunny Listen is 9 to 4 from 5 to 2. There's been a little bit of interest for Bolster, 17 to 2 from 12, but I think Coudoir or Sunny Listen will be trying to stake the claim for the Sussex Stakes after this.
Yeah, this is the natural progression, isn't it, Johnny Dineen? You've probably been looking at this market, and Coudoir 6 to 4. Float your boat.
Yeah, I agree with Johnny there. I think the front end is strong here compared to the rest of them. I can't have the likes of Bolster. I thought it ran poorly in the Curragh, and like you're down as far as like Mbesta, who's probably not chasing his tail. One of these two will definitely win, I'd have thought. Coudoir is unexposed. I think Sonny Listen is rated £5 higher, but Coudoir has probably the potential to improve past him. If you force me, I think I'd go Sonny Liston. He has more experience in that, and I won't be a bit surprised if Coudoir beats him, but I will be surprised if one of the two of them don't win, and I would be against the outsiders. I'll chance Sonny Liston, but I'd be afraid of my life for Coudoir. All
right, this is on the round course, of course. It's not on the straight. Coudoir's in 8. We've got some non-runners, obviously. I'm interested to get your take on this. I haven't said this for a long time in this studio. It's something that I used to say quite a bit. How big's your garden?
I don't know. 120 foot, something like that.
Is it big enough to house Sonny Liston when he retires? Because you have got something of an emotional project going on.
He wouldn't be doing an awful lot of running.
But you'd like to keep him, wouldn't you?
He wouldn't get a lot of cover in my
I've never known someone talk as much about Sonny Liston as you have done in the studio.
Heart Overhead is my favourite horse. I love him. I think he's, I think he'd have gone very close to winning the Queen Anne. I really do. That pace scenario was what he wanted, though. I mean, that's the perfect pace scenario. What happened there? Whereas, what you're going to get here, I don't know. So, I mean, it's a Heart Overhead thing. I think, like Johnny, I think one of the two. I'm not a short price punter, but Johnny, would you take 5 to 2 on the pair?
Johnny,
30. Yeah, it's a bit short, 5 to 2 on in these races. I probably wouldn't, Paul. To be honest, no, I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't, even though I wouldn't like to lay it, but I wouldn't like to back in it either. That kind of way.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So as for the rest, I thought Ancient Rome, as it was dry, might be a player at a big price, but I'm agreeing. It's hard to see the likes of Bestani, isn't it? Royal Dubai ran all right last time, and Bolster, I think, needs soft ground. It's drying all the time at Ascot. It'll be nearly good to firm, I think, come summer mile time at Ascot if the weather continues. Right, let's move on because we've got one of the handicaps of the entire season coming up. It's extremely valuable. John Smith's Cup up at York, of course. Loads of runners, 5-1 the field. Just what we want to see, Johnny the judge. What are the punters latching onto?
Yeah, this is one of my, like the Stewards Cup. This is another favourite race of the whole year. Big 22 runner handicap. We're paying 5 places here, and Botanical. We're keen to be on the right side of this as favourite. I think we can give him a pass for Ascot. The ground being rock hard. Enfjar is the big move in the sort of last hour, 13-2 from 10. The 3 horses who are fairly weak here, who are drawn 21, 22, 23, 24, are Haunted Dream, Epic Poet, and Liberty Lane. Obviously, they've been all the rage anti-post for this market, but been drawn in the cap. I'm not saying they can't win from there, but it's not ideal. There's a couple of movers at big prices. One firm managed to put in Crackshot in at 33-1. And Kingfisher King for William Haggis at 33. So those two were to be to keep an eye on. And obviously the 3-year-old Remard is 10-1 from 12 for William Haggis.
This has always been one of the big betting heats of the summer season, and in particular on this day, Johnny the judge. Is it still really one to toast anti-post, and everyone just loves the John Smith's Cup?
Yeah, it's like one of the Ascot handicaps. Everyone, or maybe like a Cheltenham, when people who go to York, they want to have the winner of the John Smith's Cup. So they'll be looking at this as soon as entries come out. What is that horse that they can latch onto? And I think Remard's one that's caught everyone slightly off guard. I think Laia Keel was shorter in the betting 5-day stage, and no one expected a 3-year-old to get in.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's William Haggis, isn't it? He's not actually got the best record of this, William, actually, despite the fact that everyone associates the former Yorkshireman, well, I said former Yorkshireman,
Sinjari?
of course, the native Yorkshireman. Yes, Sinjari, good shout. But it's a race, isn't it, that when you start...
Well, it's a 22-runner handicap. There's always about 6-1 the fields. I mean, winning it once in 10 years is pretty good, isn't it?
But if William has something that wins in June,
yeah, I mean,
everyone thinks about this race for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it is an incredibly hard race to win. There's no doubt about it, isn't it?
What wins?
I backed Epic Poet Anti-Post. I mean, there has been a winner from stall 22 in the last 10 years, but I can't say I'm happy with it. He's £3 well in.
Was supposed to run last week, of course.
I was supposed to run and was smashed off the boards last week at Haydock before being an on-runner. I think he's definitely got the ability to run well in the race. I might get tempted by Liberty Lane because obviously he just had a cancer around Epsom because he couldn't get a run. But
yeah,
again,
word on him, Johnny. I'm surprised he's 11-1, Johnny. That's what has come to you on that? Liberty Lane.
Yeah, he would have done harder bits of work at home, but reading the comments in the post today, this has been the plan for quite a while, but he's fairly weak at 11. I could see that being a little bit bigger. I'm
surprised he's this price. I've got him pretty much on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, had he been 11-1 anti-post, I mean, I'd have been right, get on, right? But it is the fact that he's got this big wide draw, and I think nowadays they are tending to go back towards the far side rather than come over all the time, like when they used to, and that would negate the draw a little bit, but it doesn't so much. So I think it is a negative.
Yeah, Haunted Dream's even wider.
Bradias was second to Bolster at Epsom. I think he will run well. He ran really well here the time before.
Yeah.
So I think he can go well for Alan King. But it's this is one of those races you could have 4 cracks at it and not get one in the frame.
Yeah. So just on top for Paul Kealy's Epic Poet.
Epic Poet.
All right. Okay. Johnny Dineen.
Look, originally I thought Hard to Dream had a good chance, but I do think 24 that's going to take some overcoming. That's a huge negative. You'd have to think it has to be. And I thought he ran well in the second Israel and in where was it? Epsom, he nearly fell coming out of the stalls. He did well to finish as close as he did. Botanical to me ran so bad the last day. I couldn't have that anyway. I thought that looked a weak enough 5-1 shot myself. I know maybe the ground might be slightly more favourable today, but still, I thought it was a horrific effort. And then when I came down and was remad, it's first time tongue tie. It has a good drawing too. It has formed behind the likes of Arabian, Crown, Macduff. His previous run was behind Al Muzmak and Macduff last year in Haydock, and it ran its 5th in was on bad ground the last day. It ran in Sandown. It's about a 50s odd day break. It's put the tongue tie on, so maybe they've tweaked its wind, and I could see that having a good chance in a race like this. It is a murder race, though. It really, really is a difficult race, but that's the one I'd go with if I was having a bet.
All right, okay, that is the John Smith's Cup done and dusted. Where are we going now? 2-year-old time, Superlative Stakes made reference to the fact that City of Troy 12 months ago announced himself on the scene. In fact, second that day was Hartem. So you're talking about horses that are, classic horses. Have we got it here? The market strongly suggests that we might have a new superstar in the making, Johnny the Judge.
Yeah, Ancient Truth, 11 to 10. There has been a number of the Coolmore horses pulled out about an hour ago. So you've got the dead 8 here. So if you don't like the favourite, you've got a nice each way shape. Anyway, Pentle Bay, 4 to 1. Columnist, 7 to 1. Ancient Truth is 20 to 1 for the 2,000 years at the moment. Obviously, City of Troy won this last year, but I'm not quite sure he'll be as good as him.
That's a big ask, isn't it? That's for sure. Johnny Dean, what have you made of Ancient Truth so far? 2 from 2 for Godolphin.
Yeah, look, I have a feeling this is an ordinary race myself, a very ordinary one, in fact. When you see Pentle Bay second favourite 4 to 1, like, unless Bedtime Story is Pegasus, that can't be any good. I mean, it really can it. Like, I mean, to come from that race in the Cheshire State, beat out his side to win a race, a Group 2 race, unless these are no good, that won't win, I don't think, anyway. And look, Ancient Truth, it's 2 from 2. But then if you look at its form, it beat Invited, who's beaten in the all-weather since, and beat Principality, who came to Ireland against Henry Matisse, couldn't be found, finished over, beaten out of sight it was. First horse beat it wasn't that race. So Ancient Truth is 2 from 2, obviously, and he's unbeaten, and he has to have a great chance in a race like this. But his form wouldn't suggest he's that good. But maybe he's a better horse than the form suggests. He could well win this, because I don't think it's a great race. I don't really fancy Columnist. Line of Force is a horse I'd be interested in. Carl Burke, it's won two races up the north, but it is unbeaten, so we don't really have a ceiling on how good it is. But I suppose the favourite is the one to beat. But even if he does win this and win it well, he'd still have stiffer tests ahead. I'd maybe chance Line of Force, maybe just for a speculative bet.
For Carl Burke, who whenever he sends a 2-year-old up in grade to a group race, they always seem to run their race, that's for sure. Paul Kealy, Pentle Bay might well have bumped into Pegasus at Royal Ascot in the Cheshire last time.
Yeah, but who cares? How do you bet a horse at 4 to 1 that's been beaten for a Group 2 that's been beaten nearly 10 lengths in a
dreadful price?
Yeah, I mean, it's an indication of how weak the form is, and therefore Ancient Truth will win it. Simply because this is a race Charlie Appleby targets. They like to run one of their better 2-year-olds. Remember, the unbeaten Quarto won this race and then won the National Stakes at Qatar. Master of the Seas won it. Native Trail won it 3 years ago. Like, he went on to win the Dewhurst. This will be one of their top 2-year-olds, and is running against largely average horses.
There was some mild controversy in this race last year.
Surprised. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he made 11 to 10 look a ridiculous price at the end of it.
I'm hoping that's the case, as I'll tell you towards the end of the show. I'd look at this race, and I'm kind of with the guys on Pentle Bay, who looked like he already wanted a mile and 2 to me, if anything, at Ascot last time. I thought Line of Force had a lot to fight.
Yeah, but it would have needed 7 miles to get to the winner.
Exactly. He just looked like a proper stay in the
outclassed.
making to me. I thought it was the worst commentary we've had in a long time. I know we had an 80 to 1 winner. They were split along the track, but that looked like absolute very much now horses to me. Ancient Truth is a half-brother to a horse called Great Truth, who ran in this race last year. And I say mild controversy because, of course, he represented Charlie Appleby, and William Buick sort of did take it a little bit easy. Do you remember he got caught on the line for third, and loads of people thought he was the danger to City of Troy and gave William absolute pelters. William has got business in this race with Ancient Truth. It's a family honour. It will be upheld. That is unanimous from the panel. 11 to 10. That's the price of the day so far, according to the guys. Ancient Truth. Keep it simple. Let's move on then. What have we got coming up? 4 to 1. The Bunbury Cup. Absolutely marvellous. And he's finally come out to a sort of each way price, I suppose. It's undeniable that Carry the One was the eye catcher of the entire week at Royal Ascot. Of course, he chased home English Oak, who was a group horse in a handicap. The form's actually working out really well at that race. And he caught the eye, Johnny the Judge.
Yeah, he's solid around the 4 to 1 mark. When we documented on the show a couple of weeks ago, when he was a lot bigger. Around 4 to 1, I think his price is probably bottomed out now. He's a 4 to 1, 9 to 2 shot all day long here, so we're happy to stand that. A Wall, we haven't seen him for a while, but obviously the yard is in great form, 13 to 2. And then the big move of the day here, Alto, 7 from 20. This lit up the scrolls as soon as the market sort of settled. and Divine Libra is really weak here at 9-1.
Oh, Ian Williams, Ross and Ryan having a go. Red flag time then at William Hill, which means basically danger. And this would be the big mover of the day. Carry the one. It was a strange anti-post race to watch this. He was initially put in for the Bunbury Cup, shorter than I thought perhaps I would have wanted. He was on about 7th. Then he went into like 3-1 when Ryan.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, it's one of those, wasn't it? Right? He was so eye-catching at Ascot. Right? If he was a 3-year-old who'd run 7 times, you'd be smashing him at 4-1. But he's a 7-year-old who's 4 from 24.
Yeah. It's weird,
so
isn't it?
He doesn't have the profile of a short price favourite for a Heritage Handicap, 21 a Heritage Handicap.
Do you think he would have beaten English Oak had he got a run?
No, I think, but I don't,
some people do.
I think he'd have beaten the others quite comfortably, and obviously he nearly did. He finished 3rd anyway, but if he repeats that form, he's going to go very, very close, isn't he? But he's a 7-year-old who's 4 from 24, and you can't get that out of your head. And I know he's obviously moved from Johnny Murtagh, and the new yard has got him really going well. But by the same token, I couldn't back him. Looking at this race on Monday, there was a forecast for like inches and inches of rain, and I was backing horses that handled it, and I backed London, who's the complete outsider. I don't think he's got a prayer now.
One day that is going to win.
One
a
day
race.
that's going to win a race. I don't think he's got a prayer now. Because
I'm looking at it.
I think it was very soft ground. I think Ropey Guest will run well. He's been 2nd in the race for the last 2 years. He is higher in the handicap now, but he was 5th in the Victoria Cup, or for similar mark just in May, and he just. Again, he's a 7-year-old. He doesn't win very often. He's got the same profile as Carry the One, really, without the recent form. I'd much rather back him at 4-1 to hit the frame than I would Carry the One at 4-1 to win. And that's the way I'm looking at it. I can certainly see the case for a while. He was the one that I was thinking of tipping.
Placed in it last year?
A
while.
Placed
in it last year a while?
I
I've got a feeling he did.
I cannot remember.
Someone will be typing away.
He's a soft ground horse, and I know he's been backed, but he's a soft ground horse who... And conditions are drying out all the time. It was back to good ground yesterday, and it's obviously not going to get any slower now. So, wouldn't be in a mad rush. I don't get the gamble on Ante. 2nd to a rag at Haydock last time. It's not really interesting me. I might, if I was going to have another stab at the race, and this one of these races that you could back loads. It would probably be Darkness, who is 2 from 2 at the track, although he never wins anywhere other than. I think he can run well at a price. But
this is a race in the past where you expect hold-up horses to come to the fore and they just sort of slow down and they nick it.
They quite often don't. Yeah, they quite often don't. Yeah.
This is also a dreadful race for anti-post outright favourites as well, guys, by the way. So, so Awal was 3rd last year. The producers are telling us thought he was placed in the races. We've not seen him much, have we? But he's always there or thereabouts in these handicaps. Can I give a word to Bless him as well? Who has won this and then finished 4th last year.
Him. Yeah.
And he was an eye-catcher at Royal Ascot.
He's a legend.
Cruised into it.
Yeah, but he always does.
I thought the ground was going to be against him, and they might be working back from
It's not so against him.
We might be looking at a handicap at Ascot at the end of this month. But
I'm sure they'll win this if they can.
Well, of course. But I just wonder whether, because of course he's 10-year-old now, but he's from 12. He's a player as well, isn't he? Carry the one. Where do we stand then, Johnny Dineen, on the Bunbury Cup?
Look, I suppose, as you say, he wasn't lucky in Ascot. He has to have a chance. He's tight enough, I suppose, in a big field. I was going to go with the one that finished just behind him, a place behind him, Mostab Shear. I thought that ran all right against English Oak. And he did have form in group races back along. He's a voice runner. Look, he's a chance. He's 3 times the price carried the one for finishing 1 place behind him. I know he's a fair share away, but so has carried the one at the same time. So that's the one I was going to pick. But again, it's a really, really tough contest.
All right, OK, yes it is. And was it too good to be true? Pat Dobbs apparently couldn't sleep after getting off Carry the One after the race. He'll be telling anyone that it should win. But Ryan Moore, he has a knack of pulling this off. It's going to be a cracker. It's 4 o'clock. Don't miss it. Now we're on to the Pièce de la Résistance of the final Saturday races. It's at 4:35. Chris Cook on page 2. Tea time sprint to enjoy. And of course it is Inner Sharon. Now 15-8. It is the boost this morning with William Hill. We're giving you 5-2 on the show for the entirety of this, and we are coming to the business end of the show, so you might want to avail yourself of that. There you go. The Commonwealth Cup winner, nice and straightforward, isn't he? He's got a verdict over Van Dijk. We'll see what Johnny the judge is saying about the boosted, of course, and 15-8. What price might this go off, Johnny?
I suspect he might bottom out around 13-8. Obviously, Regional was a non-runner just after the show started, so that 5-2 is even better value now. So I would quickly take that before the show finishes. We're taking a fairly strong view against the 3-year-olds here. We're top price Van Dijk. We're top price from River Tiber as well. I mean, I don't know how many more excuses that horse needs. I thought it was awful at Ascot, and just saw at double figures. The money horse here is Millstream. He's 10 from 14. I can really see the case for this, especially just hit the frame. He's never run a bad race at Newmarket, and we still don't know how good he is. I think Millstream is the each way value in the July Cup. That's the judge play, is it? Because you love your sprints, Johnny, don't you? Oh, I do, yeah. I think look, these 3-year-olds, they could be better. We don't know yet, but we get nothing for sitting on the fence here. So we're taking the view that they might be all rubbish. So we're feeling against them all. Millstream would be the each way bet there for me. Of all the morning posts we do, sitting on the fence is not going to win you anything. Absolutely. With
why does Millstream beat Swing Along? I mean, they've run against each other 4 times, I think. Swing Along's won 3 of them.
Well, Swing Along is the I said to you before we were coming in, he's the perennial and I got the name wrong earlier. The perennial, there's a lot of horses to talk about today. The perennial 18-1 shot that just runs well.
Well, I mean, she has run in 5 Group 1 races at 6 furlong and been in the first 4 in all of them.
Yeah.
5 of her last 6 runs have been the best of her life. The last one was the best of her life. She finished second in the Diamond Jubilee. She runs a race. She's totally uncomplicated. Goes from the front.
Take a swing then.
I am taking a swing on Swing Along. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we did do the Player Lays a while back, and I was very much on the inner sharing camp. Yeah. And I still think he's easily the most likely winner, and he could actually be a very good sprinter. He needs to prove it. But I think he's the most likely winner. But I don't bet 2 to 1 chances anyway in races like this. So I'm an each way player on Swing Along. I just think she's the wrong price. And I agree about River Tiber. I don't think he looks like a sprinter anyway.
Yeah, well, this is where I should interject here. This is now, a lot of you'll be watching this thinking we just want winners, and I get a little bit like what we said about Kinross earlier on with the Goodwood Cup coming up. But we are punters here with judges like you get, and we would. I'm doing exactly what Kills is doing, just to explain this. I'm sitting out of the 2 to 1. I think he'd probably win, but I'd much rather, with some imponderables still about him, have a go at something like Swinger like 18s, have a small stakes play. I also think Bitbahi will win.
There are loads of punters out there, right, who just do want winners. Now, I did a talk in a box at Epsom on Derby Day a few years ago, and there was a 4 to 5 shot there that I thought should have been about 1 to 3, and I said so, and it hacked up. Right? I had about half a dozen people come up to me after saying I'd made their day for tipping some horse that did go off at about 4 to 9.
Yeah,
right?
I just want winners.
I'd had an absolute shocker because I hadn't backed that, and I tipped up 6 other losers on the day as well. Like, you know what I mean? And well, hang on a minute, to be able to tell me I've made their day, like, you know what I mean? If you followed me, you'd done your brains. Right, and I certainly had.
Yeah.
But they wanted that one short price winner that they could go in with confidence on, and that's the way a lot of people punt.
I don't
get it myself, but it's what happens.
Of asking you of your top 3, which to keep it a bit more simple, Inner Sharon would obviously be in there, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Okay. I mean, he'd be number 1, but would I back him at that price? Yeah. No.
And Kills plays the long game as well. So, but if you do want a winner out there, we probably think Inner Sharon will do it. I certainly do. I think he's very uncomplicated. I love that about him. I thought Ascot, you could have called him winner at halfway. It's a Commonwealth Cup though, and Johnny's right. This is where they stand up. It's a brilliant race over the years. Johnny Dineen, you don't mind having a swing at a short one?
No, I don't. But maybe not in the sprint. I was never mad for sprints. I just think there are a lot of sprinters are inconsistent. They beat each other irregularly, and even if you look at the 6 furlong race in Ascot, like Spencer probably picked the wrong one of the 2. He picked which one of them won it? Ricardo won it, wasn't it? And he picked the other one, Midbahi. So he couldn't pick the right one in a 2-horse race, and then we expect to pick the right one in about a 12-horse race. Like even yokes like Art Power who pull a run out of nowhere, like in last year at the end of the season there in Ascot. Look, I just don't. I'm not ever mad about having a big bet in a sprinter. Inner Sharon, to me, is a good chance. Like, I couldn't have River Tiber, same as the boys there. I just couldn't have that. Van Dijk needs to bounce back from a poor run in Haydock, and Inner Sharon beat it well. But Van Dijk was a good 2-year-old the same. Whether he's trained on, who knows. I was going to come down with a chance on Kinross. It never runs well first time out, and it did run well in Newcastle 2 weeks ago. that should put it spot on for a race like this. He was third in the race last year. I agree. Millstream is another one is dangerous as well. But I kind of putting the eggs in the basket that the 3-year-olds aren't that good. There isn't enough of evidence yet to suggest that they are. Like the 3-year-olds that ran in the 5 furlong race in Ascot were Big Evs, who ran okay, ran well, finished third. But some of the other ones ran very poorly, and there was one yoke around 12-1 finish nowhere. A horse belonged to Ammo Racing. But you just don't know how good the 3-year-olds yet. Then they have to give their run, and I'm going to go for I think Kinross will be placed. It may not win, but I do think it's a good each way bet at the same time.
I think you're absolutely right about that Newcastle run being an absolute tee up for this. I wouldn't worry too much about it coming a little bit too soon. And Kinross certainly one of the classiest in the race. Haven't even mentioned Van Dijk really yet, who of course was beaten by Inisherin at the Sunny Lane on awful ground at Haydock. He'll be expected to have a go at Inisherin again.
Christopher's are absolutely flying.
They are.
They weren't when he ran last time. So yeah, I mean, I thought he was an absolute certainty that day at Haydock and couldn't believe how badly he ran.
Yeah.
That's the only question mark. He's short enough on the basis of that, isn't he?
Yeah, but stop the clock, go back through the winter. He was the one that we were expecting to come out on top and be the poster boy in the sprint division. I guess, take the betting away from it. We need one of the 3-year-olds to really put us on the global map a bit more, don't we? That is your Saturday previews done. We're coming towards the business end of the show then. Time for a little anti-post look. Glorious Goodwood on the horizon. There's a piece in the paper today, Galway versus Goodwood. David Jennings says, have a little read of that. But of course, we're going to hone in on the Sussex Stakes then, and an anti-post race which is hotting up at William Hill. Johnny the Judge, let's have a look. Rosalian then at 5-4. Henry Longfellow, his old rival, 3-1. Notable Speech to bounce back at 9-2. Hartem, who will put his heart on his sleeve as usual and go out probably and run a massive race. And then you've got the older horses. Opera Singer, we don't think is going to go. Sonny Liston could well be a move. We'll see what Keith Kills says about that. And his favourite horse. 5-4. I guess, are we expecting this might cut up, Johnny the Judge?
Yeah, I suspect we might get sort of 7 or 8 turn up here. I had a quick look at this during the week, and Rosalian at even money. It looked short enough to me, so we pushed that back out to 5-4, so that's clear top. I think Henry Longfellow and more so Notable Speech, I'd rather be a backer at sort of 5-1, 6-1 each way, Notable Speech, with the view to bouncing back after Ascot. You could possibly make an excuse for the hardware. Some of the market drifts we've documented that week were just awful. Hartem is in the Lennox. Will he turn up here? I'm not so sure. And one at a huge price. Well, not with us, it isn't. Anyway, Factor Cheval, second last year behind Paddington. You can get 20-1 in the place. I think you'll do worse than have each way bets on Factor Cheval.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I thought considering he followed Big Rock. It was a weird race to watch for Queen Anne for that reason, wasn't it? I thought he actually ran well, was second to Paddington last year. And of course, we're looking at this for prices that might come in for you or might drift out. Let's go to Johnny Dineen quickly, because I think he might shape how we look at this race. Johnny, Rosalian.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be against him anyway. I mean, I did think he did well to win in the Curragh, and he rescued a good race, and he did the same in Ascot. He knows how to win. I think he's still on an upward curve, and I think he'd beat Henry Longfellow every day of the week. If he beat him in Ascot, he'd beat him again. He has the edge over Hartem. Notable Speech needs to bounce back, and there is a possibility that the Guineas was a fluke too, and that he showed the benefit of those 3 runs in the all-weather in the winter, and he may not be as good as he looked, and maybe the stable was out of form, but he needs to bounce back, and he needs to be good enough to beat Rosalian as well on top of that. So look, Rosalian looks to be getting, I'd say if anything, moving away from the other horses as regards superiority, and I would be loath to oppose Rosalian anyway. Even 5-4 to me, I'd expect it to go off less than that.
Yeah, it could well go odds on, couldn't he? Okay, Johnny set the market for this. Is it Rosalian now versus the older horses?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, Henry Longfellow got absolutely the run of the race at Ascot, still can win.
Yeah,
and Rosalian did really well. Notable Speech, again, as Johnny said, could be a fluke. Hartem probably goes Lennox, Opera Singer, Nassau. That's what it's been backed for. So you're looking at Factor Cheval and Sonny Liston.
Yes.
Sonny Liston was 66 about 3 weeks ago, and now he's 16. I mean, it just gives you an idea. I actually didn't. I sometimes do this about horses that win. I talk an awful lot about backing them at big prices and actually never get round to it, and I've managed to miss all the 66 Sonny Liston, despite putting quite a few people on it who I know that have had tiny bits on.
Wins today, what price is he?
Oh, wins today. I mean, he's not going to get much short for winner today. We go 12.
Okay.
We wouldn't go any shorter than 12.
Race cuts up and on the day?
Race cuts up. He could be an each way play on the day if you get 8 runners. But again, the race is going to cut up and he's not going to end up being that big a price now.
Of course, we're looking for reasons to oppose
Mazalian's the one to... He's obviously the one to beat.
All right.
It's very good.
Okay, that's Anti-Post look at the Sussex Stakes, which comes up at the end of this month. Right. That's the business pretty much done and dusted. Before, of course, we go to the naps. There just happens to be a Euros final tomorrow. England have made it. You've got Alcaraz taking on Djokovic in the Wimbledon final, of course. Does he win that? You used to be a big
I'm an Alcaraz fan, yeah.
Yeah, who isn't? Absolutely. Let's hope they don't have such a good time, however, when it comes to 8 p.m. Where are you going to watch it? Who are you going to back? If you need some help, here's Mark Langdon.
What are you looking at here?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Spain to win the trophy. I just think they've been the best side, and even though England have got that extra man in midfield with the way that they play, Rodri can almost look after Bellingham and Foden. He's kind of that good the way that he does it, and I would be concerned with Fabian Ruiz's runs from midfield, Dani Olmo. Like taking up them positions that Simon scored from for Netherlands. I thought Switzerland are not a great side, are they? But when they stepped it up against England, there were signs there that defence wasn't working amazingly. And I think against Slovakia as well, first half, it wasn't too good. So Spain, we know how good they are because they've beaten Germany, they've beaten France. Okay, Italy, you can argue as to sort of the standard of them, but they've beaten 2 really top teams. Like England haven't up until this point, have they really? Slovakia in the last 16, not a great side. I mean, Netherlands finished 3rd in their group. They got talented players, but they did. You can't underestimate they finished 3rd in their group, and Switzerland are sort of Switzerland really. So. This is England's biggest test. I'm sure most people listening or watching will want England to win, but I think you have to answer this sort of honestly. So I'll go for Spain to win the trophy.
You can check out the treasonous Mark Langdon and Warren Ashurst, of course, on our YouTube channel. The whole show there. Warren's great. And Lango, let's hope you're wrong again. Went for Switzerland. 8-11 to lift the trophy.
Oh, you know me, mate. I don't know an awful lot of football.
Don't
know an awful lot about football.
On, you play that card.
And I don't, call them treasonous or whatever. I don't really do patriotism. I don't understand it.
Just very quickly, tell the story about when you were in the box last week.
Oh, my God. I mean, that was one of the most embarrassing. Myself and producer Dave Lowe had backed Switzerland, and I'd backed Switzerland to win 1-0. And I was dead quiet, right? And Dave Lowe, you could not believe, it was about 100 people in this box, like, you know what I mean? And all their heads went down. Dave Lowe went, yes, at the top of his voice. All right, and jumped up, and you just did not know where to look. It was very funny to look back on.
It does seem like everyone's been taking England on, doesn't it?
I think if Switzerland won, he'd have got filled in that day. Probably.
Shame.
Like, you know what I mean? It was quite funny. No, I don't really understand patriotism, so I don't actually care all that much.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So,
but something you wrote in the week in one of your columns, you actually did nod to this.
Well, I want them to win because it means an awful lot to a lot of my
team that scores first as well.
It means a lot of It means a lot to a lot of my friends for them to win. So I want them to win for that reason, if no other. But yeah, both teams have conceded first in every knockout match. It just goes to show that there are weaknesses, aren't they? They can concede. Both teams can concede, so it's open.
All right.
So England can definitely win it.
And it's coming home kills. Let me just tell you that. Let's go to Johnny Dineen, who's been looking at England all the way through. I noticed in your piece, John, you said quite rightly so. This is the first game that England haven't been favourites. How are we feeling about the punt on Sunday?
Yeah, look, I think they have every chance. I think sport is mad anyway. I mean, to be fair, England got a penalty in their last match, which in most games I don't think would have been given anyway. I think if it went against you, you'd be screaming the house down. But as opposed to that, Spain had what would had a blatant penalty not given for Germany, and if that had happened, they would have been knocked out. So there is a lot of luck in sport. I watched about 5 or 6 sporting events last week, and you could argue that the wrong team won every single game. But anyway, look, I do think it's open. It's anyone's really. It's a lot of luck involved in sport, and they have a good chance. Of course they have. One thing I think, and I might be all wrong, I think the 16-year-old young fella won't get a smell on Sunday night. Not a smell of any description. That's my reading of it anyway. But they have other players that can do damage at the same time. But there's one guy that they will pocket on Sunday night, no doubt about it.
There you go. That's what we want. Now we end with Johnny the Judge on this. It has been a punting bonanza. It's nearly over, Johnny. What is going to be hot with William Hill, do we think, tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's been an immense sort of 4 or 5 weeks coming up to the final. I suspect sort of 3-1, 3-2, Harry Kane to score first, Bellingham to score first. Anything like that is a disaster as a bookmaker. We'll be sort of cheering on the 0-0, 1-1, last-minute winner type result, which I think will probably be. I think 1-1, and then bring on the fresh leggers again and win it in extra time.
We're still loving the T-shirt, the clobber, Johnny the Judge. Okay, all right, that's that. Enjoy it, everyone. Fingers crossed for the lads. And you never know, we might have that bank holiday after all. Okay, on Monday. Right, naps time, I'm delighted to say, comes up. Let's get them out of the way. Johnny the Judge, you can perhaps go through them and tell us about the boosted prices.
Yeah, so Ancient Truth is 5-4, Arisaig 6-1, and the Equator for Johnny Dineen is 10-11. I'm going to go for Sunny Listen. I think that Summer Mile is effectively a match bet, so you've got to go with the horse at the bigger price. So I think Sunny Listen will be 11-4.
That looks like a nice lucky 15, doesn't it?
No, lucky 15s with short shots, not for me.
Yeah,
Too short,
I'm saying for the punters out there.
No,
No.
If you're going to have a lucky 15, don't have 10 or 11 and 5-4 shots. That's what I'd say to punters.
Do you know what? I quite like them when they win, Johnny Dineen, don't you?
Yeah, it's a help. It is a help.
It's a help. Tell us about the Equator quickly, John.
Look, the ground is a small worry for it, but it's and the trip is a bit of a concern. But Navan is a stiff track. I'd expect it to bounce out, make the run, and then stay there. It's taken a considerable drop in grade anyway. And look, it ran okay in the Chester Vale, or not the Queen's Vale, I should say, without being put into the race properly. And it has taken a big drop in grade here. It should win this now. If it doesn't win this, it's going nowhere anyway. All
right, great stuff. I'm looking to get back on track of a dreadful nap last week. I think Ancient Truth, just keep it simple. We'll go and win. All right, and Arisaig, of course, for Paul. 6-1. They've boosted these prices, live and available now on the website and the app as well. Right, we take breath. It's been a really enjoyable show. Thanks for joining us again, Johnny Dineen.
Cheers, all the best, lads.
All the best, Johnny. We'll see you in the next weeks to come, no doubt. Johnny will be coming back over into the studio, we hope, later on, maybe Champions Day, something like that. Johnny the Judge, great to have you with us, back on the show. Will you be back next week, or is that insufferable McBride?
Yeah, Jamie will be back next week. I'm at a stag do, so I'll be watching the racing with the lads. So best of luck this week.
Nice knowing you, Johnny. Nice knowing you. All right, Keels, what does today hold? A little feet up? And
yeah, feet up. There's so much sport to watch, isn't there? So I'm going to nip home, I think. Telly, tennis, golf.
All the above.
The whole lot.
Yeah, all right, okay. Thank you for joining us. With loads of you been watching us this morning. It's been more of a conversational feel. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a really, really tough week, of course, for racing. Some of it just seems immaterial, doesn't it? But while we never preach to you here, go out there, take a deep breath, look at those that you love, take a deep breath, enjoy life and the sport that's available.